Hey everybody, I'm CC Trubiak and welcome to CC's Vinyl Closet. I've been patient, I've been good, trying to keep my hands on the table. It's getting hard, this holding back, you know what I mean. Oh, whoa, is it already that time? I was just doing my calisthenics. Here we are, folks. Episode 13 of CC's Vinyl Closet. Chapter 13 of the Honky-Tonk Angel Bible. Taking care now of the tail end of Honky-Tonk Angel Olivia Newton-John's career. Looking at the albums she released between 1981 all the way to now, today. Are you ready for this? Whew, I think I'm gonna need to take a minute to catch my breath. Okay, I think I'm feeling refreshed and ready to go. Let's do this. By 1981, Olivia Newton-John was the reigning pop princess. Due to the enormous success of Grease and more pop rock-oriented music in Xanadu, ONJ morphed into a full-fledged star. In this final ONJ installment, I'll be taking a look at the many albums she released from 1981 on, including the solo work. Now, unfortunately, her album stopped being in print and available on vinyl circa 1993, so I do not have anything available on vinyl from Olivia Newton-John after that, with one exception, but I won't spoil anything. Really, what I'm just going to be able to focus on now is everything that I do have on vinyl, so I'm about ready to do this. This is the fun part. Let's go. Let's get animal. Released in October of 1981, Physical would signify the commercial peak of ONJ's music career. Post-Grease Olivia demonstrated a musical makeover. Gone were the country pop confections that she had been known for, and now, instead, she offered fans sharper, more rock-infused material. In fact, I'm a die-hard fan for this album. It's undeniable when listening to it that ONJ's voice had transformed fully. I mean, this was a stronger, edgier, more sinewy type voice. She was really doing some cool stuff with her voice there, and that's one thing that makes Physical such a great album. Also worth noting is that Olivia Physical, the movie, is a full-length video album that won the Recording Academy's second ever Grammy Award issued for Video of the Year, and it spawned an Emmy-nominated TV special called Let's Get Physical. I totally remember both of these. One of the things that makes Physical such a cool part of Olivia's history is that she released an album full of music videos kind of coinciding with all of the songs. And I guess up till then that was really not heard of, and it certainly was a part of the whole MTV generation. I remember that video too, my dad renting it on VHS when I was a kid, and I pored over that concert. That's probably my first visual introduction to Olivia Newton-John as a kid. It was actually watching that live concert. It's a really cool concert. The music videos that accompanied Physical completely revamped her image, and Physical not only became the most successful song of her career, but the biggest hit of the entire decade, spending 10 weeks at #1, with Make a Move on Me following at #5. I'm the one you want, it's all I wanna be, so come on baby, make a move on me. With Make a Move on Me following at #5, Billboard named ONJ Top Pop Singles Artist of 1982 and deemed Jay Farrer the year's top singles producer, ahead of legendary Beatles producer George Martin. That's pretty cool and well-deserved. Personally, I can't get enough of this album. I could, if tested, I could probably sing it from start to finish, including every synthesizer, every guitar solo, every dolphin squeak. I've got this one ingrained in me. It's a great album that I think people need to check out. Physical is a quintessential album of the 80s. Again, I'm not surprised, but it's not referred to that often on lists. I think one of the things I love most about Physical too is that every single track would have been worthy of a single. For example, two of my favorite songs I don't believe were released as singles. Carried Away, the Barry Gibb written song, is such a beautiful song. There you are, shiny as a morning star. It's a figure of speech, but we're still out of reach. You never told me loving you could be so wrong and right. and it's gonna be a lonely night. I could sing the whole thing, right? Carried Away is a great song off the Physical album, and my other real favorite one on that one is Recovery, which was written by John Ferrer. I live on an island far away, all by myself. There's no one else. Nobody calls, but that's okay. Don't need their help. I'm by myself. Another great song off that album. A quick note too, John Ferrer produced Physical, but the mega hit Physical itself was written by American-born Australian songwriter and record producer Steve Kipner. So Kipner apparently wrote a lot of hit songs for people, and a few that I noted just from my research are Diana Ross, Rod Stewart, Joe Cocker. Billboard ranked Physical number 6 on its all-time top 100 list, number 1 on its top 50 sexiest songs of all time, and number 1 on its top 100 songs of the 1980s list. Enough said. If you're not familiar with the album Physical, go get it now. Speaking of Steve Kipner, in 1983, ONJ and John Travolta teamed up again for the film and soundtrack Two of a Kind. Neither the film or the soundtrack did well commercially, but at least it offered us fans the hit Twist of Fate. It's gonna be a strange twist of fate, telling me that heaven can wait. Do we deserve a second chance? How did we fall into this circumstance? So Twist of Fate was written by Steve Kipner. I love this song, and I'm so happy that I've seen it kind of referenced in more modern times. I think it was on the Stranger Things soundtrack, but it was also featured on one of my favorite shows of all time these days, RuPaul's Drag Race, where Olivia guested as a judge on the panel. A special little noteworthy thing there. Twist of Fate's a great hit song off of it. Two of a Kind also offered one of my favorite songs that I think is a bit of an unsung song by Olivia Newton-John, and that's Living in Desperate Times. And I'm living in desperate times. Being alive's my only crime. I don't care what I have to do. I'll find some way to make it through. Oh, and I'm living in desperate times, and it's too late to change my mind. Until these desperate times are done, gonna run. Watch me run. I really love Living in Desperate Times. I've included it on my gospel list. I think the lyrics are still relevant today. It's a great 80s song, a great Olivia song, Living in Desperate Times. Oh, I'm also going to show you just a little clip. Two of a Kind is not one of my favorite movies, not gonna lie, but it's got probably my all-time favorite Olivia Newton-John movie quote in it, so I'm going to tag it in just right here for you now.
Ugh, that's disgusting. Tastes like shit.
Okay, it looks like I'm still stuck on the Two of a Kind soundtrack here, because it is worth noting that it was produced by Canadian musician, composer, arranger, and music executive David Foster, who I brought up before. Plus, in 1986, David released the self-titled studio album LP, which featured a duet with ONJ called The Best of Me. So I've included the song The Best of Me on the gospel playlist. It's a fairly unfamiliar song to me. I don't remember ever hearing this on the radio. I'm not too sure if it's referred to a lot. It's a sweet song. It's got that 1986 kind of production to it. I would say go check it out. I just want to give a special nod out to David Foster for the connection that he has with Olivia Newton-John. I think he has even said that she is one of the finest artists that he's worked with, and I believe that to be true. Also going to take a quick moment to mention the Greatest Hits Volume 2 album. And normally I'm not trying to include Greatest Hits albums in this project, but it has 2 songs that were previously unreleased, one of them being called Tied Up. I'm including it on the gospel list because, again, it's a great representation of Olivia Newton-John from the 1980s. That's it. That's all. Moving on. The 1980s brought on a lot of personal changes for Olivia Newton-John. First marriage, and a baby, and her prominence on the charts dwindled. However, that's not to say that she still wasn't making music. It really wasn't making the hits like it used to. But there's some fine music this period of her career in the late 80s has to offer, so I'm gonna make a few notes here, okay? So of course, there's Soul Kiss, which came out in 1985. I love that album. Again, that's just kind of the continuation of the raunchy, totally hot Olivia phase pop. Very pop. This album has just a lot of catchy pop stuff. I believe the only real big hit off of it was Soul Kiss. Soul kiss, you left me dreaming. But there's some cool stuff on there, including I love Queen of the Publication. Oh, also from that album, Electric. Was not included on the album, but I found it as a B-side. Again, that's always a joy when I find these B-sides I was not familiar with. You make me feel electric, the connection is strong. Very 80s, a very cool song. Okay, I'm getting a little off track here, so I want to bring it back to 1988's The Rumor. Anyone familiar with that album? The Rumor is a standout album for me. I remember listening to it when I was a kid. Not only did The Rumor showcase her growth as a vocalist, but the material is far more mature than anything she previously released, and it paired her up with the legendary Sir Elton John. Rockin' man, burning out his fuse up here alone. I have loved and idolized Elton John for a great part of my life. I may not have been listening to him as long as Olivia Newton-John. He sure made a huge impression on me. I have a handful of his albums, most of them his earlier albums, but I really love that stuff, and I've been able to see Elton John twice in my lifetime. It was a dream come true, much like seeing Olivia Newton-John. It was like a religious experience. I cried at Elton John because he is like a gift from above. I've also known that Elton John and Olivia Newton-John were friends, just based on some pictures I've seen in the past. I also have seen him on one of her television specials, singing Candle in the Wind with her. But on The Rumor, Elton John and Bernie Taupin wrote the title track. As the rain falls, I listen to the radio and try to memorize the words to Georgia on my mind. Basically, I know that Elton John wrote The Rumor, the title track on that album. Not only did he sing on it with her, but he produced the track too, which I think is cool. They should have done more together. And I don't care if that sounds like a broken record. Elton John and Olivia Newton-John should have done more music together. Period. No rebuttals. Okay, I'm gonna fast forward it a little bit to move things along to 1992. So I know that marked a really big year for Olivia Newton-John. That is the year that she was diagnosed with breast cancer. She was about to start a comeback tour, and it was going to coincide with the release of her greatest hits package, Back to Basics, The Essential Collection. Basically, it's a greatest hits package with 4 new songs. So in 1992, that was pretty exciting for someone like me, who was a diehard fan and basically kept track of anything that she was releasing. My personal favorite on that album is I Wanna Be Wanted. I Wanna Be Wanted, which was produced by Peter Asher. I was familiar with that name because I believe that he was the longtime producer of Linda Ronstadt, another one of my Honky-Tonk Angels. Peter Asher is an English guitarist, singer, and record producer, and I will be bringing his name up again when I move on to the Linda Ronstadt stuff, but in a nutshell, Back to Basics was a welcome comeback attempt, but ONJ had to kick into her warrior mode to heal and get better, and she sure did. Nothing held her back. She was going to be back with more music. Before I forget, I have previously touched upon Olivia's association with Andy Gibb, but now I'm going to bring up Mr. Barry Gibb, because the 80s would see ONJ teaming up with him several times, including the association of him having written Carried Away on her Physical album. Barry Gibb is a British-American musician, singer-songwriter, and record producer, and co-founder of the Bee Gees. Whether you're a lover or whether you're a brother, you're staying alive, staying alive, staying alive, staying alive. Not only did he pen the Andy Gibb-Olivia duet, Rest Your Love on Me, he invited Olivia into the studio for his 1984 solo album, Now Voyager, to do the song Face to Face. As long as we do it face to face. I have definitely included this song on the HTA Gospel playlist. I was unfamiliar with it. I'm glad I picked up this Barry Gibb album. Their duets on his Now Voyager album would not be the last duets they did, because in 2021, he released Green Fields. I've mentioned that in the Dolly Parton section. This beautiful album here, Green Fields. He released this in 2021, and it's basically an album full of duets with his peers and his friends. And it includes Dame Olivia Newton-John doing a real stripped-down, beautiful version of Rest Your Love on Me. And it's a very sweet version. I can't tell you how much I love that song. Thank you, Barry Gibb, for all of the music that you have given this world. All of it. You will never be forgotten. Lay your troubles on my shoulders. Put your worries in my pocket. Rest your love on me a while. Some real sweet stuff in Olivia's career. You know, sometimes I really feel like I speed through a lot of this music, but in actuality, I spend a lot of time poring over these records, and I spend a lot of time thinking about it and how much I love it. So no matter what, I hope I'm getting in everything that I should be getting in on these videos without making them too long. But Olivia Newton-John has had an incredible career. It didn't stop there. Like I said, her album stopped being produced around 1993 on record, but that is not to say that she doesn't have a whole whack of other albums out there since then. I'll show you a little picture of the ones that I have available on CD, and it's not to imply that I'm unfamiliar with the rest of it. It's just, girl, you know, you should be getting on people to release your stuff on vinyl, especially the album Gaia or Grace and Gratitude or even the Hotel Sessions. There's some really beautiful stuff on there that you have written, and you do not sound like the country pop pioneer. You do not sound like the reigning queen of pop music. You sound like Olivia Newton-John, healer. You know, you've got some really beautiful kind of new age music. That's what they were labeling it when I was reading through it. And I think it's just great stuff. Beautiful to hear your songwriting coming out in your style. Folks, go check out those other albums. I have to give a quick shout out to Canadian singer, songwriter, and record producer Amy Skye. Okay, Amy Skye is another brand new artist that I was not aware of, but I do see that she worked with Olivia Newton-John on several projects, including Live On, which I do not have, but I think I've got it on the way in the mail on CD, because I'm truly curious now. But I have seen Amy Skye's name on the Rumor album. Looks like she co-wrote some songs on there with Olivia Newton-John. So, you know, there, I can slip her in on this as well, because she is on the Rumor album. She also produced the album Grace and Gratitude by Olivia Newton-John, which I wish was available on vinyl. And of course, just like Loretta and Tammy and Dolly, Olivia has accumulated many accolades over the years, most notably receiving the Officer of the Order of the British Empire by Queen Elizabeth II in 1979, and becoming a dame! Becoming a dame! My country queen becomes a dame, as it should be. Not only have these awards reflected her work in the recording industry, but also her ongoing commitment to breast cancer awareness, raising funds for cancer research, and her contribution to the preservation of the environment and rainforests. She's one amazing person. Okay, of course, I think this is the time in the video where I have to share what I believe is Olivia's lasting legacy, and I think I already summed it up in pretty much every video I've talked about her. Olivia Newton-John is much more than a country pop singer, a pretty girl, that girl from Greece. She is a star, and she's a healer. Above everything else, I've realized that what her music has given me over the years is just continual comfort, continual healing. That's what you will always be to me, and that's pretty much how I'm going to sign off on this video. I thank you guys so much for being here with me on this. I am having an incredible time. I feel like this is just incredible for me that I'm doing this. So stay tuned for the next episode where I bring up my next Honky-Tonk Angel. Who do you think it is, guys? Who do you think the next Honky-Tonk Angel is? Leave your comments down below for me. And if you're liking this stuff, as always, please press the like button, hit that subscribe, turn on the notifications for all the new material coming out, and be sure to share this with the people that you think would really love this, because I'm looking for my tribe out there, and if you're on my tribe, you hit me up and you let me know. Until then, take care and get animal! If I can only make one man aware, one person care, then I'll have done what I promised.